Hi! I promised you guys I'd do a contouring video. Figured while I was at it I can kind of show you how I do my whole face. So it's more of like a foundation application video. See, this is really bad. I don't know what's happening. My face is going through some things, apparently. And I was kind of waiting for that to clear before I did a video, but it's kind of a better opportunity because you'll see how well the products I use work to cover these horrible, terrible things, and some good tips for making your concealer stay and cover up the more difficult spots in your face. So let's get started. What I always do, moisturize my face. It's already moisturized. You can see it's a little shiny. Let that dry for a minute. You don't want to go in with another product or they're not going to do their job. So I'm going to go in next with what is almost empty, my Mary Kay foundation primer. This is going to create a barrier between skincare and foundation so that they don't mix together and so that this foundation doesn't sink into your skin. You can see it's like this little waxy, clear, blobby thing. This is going to go all over your face, focusing more on like the T-zone area here, areas that will be a little bit more oily. This is great for your skin because it fills up your pores with more healthy things for your face than foundation, even though the foundation I use is very good for your skin. So we're gonna go down to the neck because you always want to have foundation there too, so why wouldn't you want primer there? And again, you don't want to go straight into foundation because then it's going to mix together. The foundation will mix with the primer and that's not what you want. Tacking up the face with the primer and it's going to help the foundation stick a little better rather than just slip right off. So while I wait, what I do is I go and I do my brows and my lashes before. So that gives it a little bit of time to work and I don't have to like sit here twiddling my thumbs. I'm going to go in and do my lashes first. I'm priming them as well. And this is another thing where you should really let it dry before you go in with mascara. While that's drying, I'm going to do my eyebrows. I'm not gonna like hardcore do my brows today. They're pretty full lately, which is good. So I'm just gonna lightly fill the bottom portion in like I always do with this brunette color. So I like to do the tail end and the underneath because the underneath doesn't quite have the shape that I like. Other brow. This one's a little trickier. Missing a lot of spots that I would like to not be missing. And then I'm gonna do the top portion with blonde, just because I don't want it so heavy at the top. I want it more natural looking, so that's gonna get blonde. I'm just gonna take a little spoolie brush. I'm gonna feather through them, make it a little more natural, a little softer, I guess. And if I were to get any way out of the lines, which I kind of didn't today, I went easy on it, I would just follow it with a very small amount of concealer. My lash primer is dry, so I'm gonna take this comb by Lori Hogg. Gonna separate my lashes because they're gonna clump up a little, just not a lot, but like they stick together once you put any kind of wet product. So separate them a little bit and give them a curl. If you're curious, this is a Sally Hansen curling iron. Nothing fancy, but it's pretty. And then I'm gonna go in with some mascara. This is the Mary Kay Lash Intensity Mascara. It's going to give you length and volume. And this one came in super deformed. Like, look at that. It's crooked and like the bristles are all bent and I really need to do a product replacement. So it's not going to work like as great as it could because it's really stupid looking. But we'll give it a shot. So the short bristles in the center are the ones that you want to apply the product with. And then you give it a little turn and you use the longer bristles to pull the product and separate your lashes and pull it all the way through. I happen to really stink at putting on mascara. Imagine that, like I really stink at it. No matter what I do, it gets all over my face, which is why I'm putting it on first. I know most people don't do that, but look, see, it's on my face. You always want to wait for the product on your face to dry before you try to wipe it off, or else it's going to smear. So once it's dry, you can take a Q-tip. This is like some fancy charcoal Q-tip. It probably works exactly the same, but it looked fancy, so I got it, and it was cheap from Marshall's, my favorite store. You'll see that I like to tug on my eyes, which is a really horrible habit because your muscles are, you only have one muscle there, and it's a very thin, not super strong muscle. So you really want to touch that as not often as possible, but hey, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to have pretty makeup. So I'm gonna take my lash comb again, and I'm gonna separate my lashes a little bit better. I don't want a whole ton of eye makeup today because, one, I'm kind of in a hurry, and if you know me, you know I'm slow as heck, especially when it comes to getting ready. Look how pretty those lashes are. So I'm just gonna go in with this pale blush cream eyeshadow. It has no shimmer. It's a matte cream eyeshadow with like the palest pink. And you could definitely put this on with your fingers, but I don't like touching things, so I'm putting this on with some random brush. It's a Tarte brush. You can go almost up to your eyebrow with this, all over your lid. It's going everywhere. I'm gonna use this as an eye primer. I could stop right here. Probably should. Probably won't be late for my appointment that I have in a little while if I keep going, but I'm gonna keep going. What the heck? Story of my life. I'll always be late, forever and always. Just to keep it easy, I'm gonna go in with this ballerina pink. It's basically the same color that I already put on my eye. I'm gonna put it everywhere that I just put that on, because anytime you put a mineral powder on your eyelid on top of a cream, which is a more damp product, it's not gonna blend as well. So since you can't really see this color, I can put it everywhere and it's gonna create a surface for my next color to blend into. I'm gonna go in with my favorite brush. This is Airbrush Crease by It. And I'm gonna go in with Lavender Fog in my crease. It's not gonna give me a whole lot of color, just a little bit, just enough to give me a little bit more dimension without looking like I really did my eyes. I'll bring a little bit of this stone color, just for the heck of it. I'll bring that just on my outer eyelid, just right here. Nothing fancy. Sweep a little back. Not going too high with it, just staying in the crease, not going up where the purple was. And then I'm just going to take this fluffy Sephora large eyeshadow brush and clean it up with my go-to cleanup brush, Sweet Cream. You can see I use the heck out of it. It's kind of like my eraser eyeshadow. I don't like things too close to my eyebrow or too far. Like if you had an imaginary line from the outer corner of my eye to my brow, I would keep everything out of that area. Don't want anything there. And I'm going to soften up this edge. You don't want a harsh ending point. Your foundation is only going to be as smooth and flawless as your face. It's so bad. I don't know what. Skincare is important. Promise I'm using it. It's just a bad week. That happens. Some important things to keeping your face looking not like this. Clean brushes. I cleaned all my brushes last night and they're so soft and beautiful. Dirty brushes, for one, they touch your acne and they stay and they breed germs. We don't want that, so clean them as often as you can. Also sanitizing your tools, like anything you touch in your makeup area, you should spray it with an alcohol, like a water alcohol solution. I'm going to be using this beauty blender. I love it so very much. I've tried lots of other blending sponges and they're all okay. Like, I've tried this one. This is probably my next favorite of the ones I've tried. This is, I kept it dirty so I could show you the importance of like cleaning your stuff, because it's a breeding ground for gross things. This one's nice and clean. It's not going to make my face break out any worse than it already is. So these need to be cleaned daily because they're used wet. You have to dampen them and then squeeze out the excess water, put in a towel, squish it out, and then it's good to use. The water in it helps it from not soaking up too much foundation. I'm using my Mary Kay Time Wise Matte Wear Foundation. I like to put my products in a tray because I don't like touching stuff, and I like the fact that when I'm finished, I can scoop it out and put it in a little tub so that I don't waste anything. You just dip it in to your foundation a little bit, and you just go to town. And it gives you the most beautiful finish. It does take a little bit more work, I guess, a little bit more time than other methods, but it gives you the best finish. It just puts the most perfect amount of product in your face. I've tried others and they just don't compare. Like, I've heard people say that and I'm like, you're just trying to make me spend a lot of money, but it really just doesn't compare. The other brands they're not as good as a true beauty blender. This is a true, like, real deal beauty blender, which I didn't want to buy because I hate the thought of spending, what was it, like 20 bucks on a product that essentially I'll throw away soon because you can't use it forever. It's a sponge. This one has held up really well compared to my others. There's minimal tearing, probably because I don't clean it as often as I should. This one got really bumpy and lumpy fast, which is not what you want if you want smooth foundation. But this is going to demonstrate how well this works and how well our foundation works, in my humble opinion. Like, it's never going to cover up these super dark things. I'll just need some extra concealer, some extra love. And you just tap, tap, tap all over, not forgetting any little crease. You can see I have this is actually a birthmark. It's not acne. But you'll see that it covers up really easily. Like, look at that, gone. Just tapped it on and it's more or less gone. Make sure you go into your hairline. I really don't feel like tapping on my neck, so I'll use that opportunity to show you my next favorite brush. Let's see, what is it called? Velvet Luxe LBD Foundation 302. It's just so perfect, and it feels so nice because it's one of their Luxe brushes, and it's domed, really condensed. It doesn't suck up a lot of foundation, and I just love it, and I like to use it on my face when I'm in a hurry and don't feel like doot 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 doot, but also on my neck because I don't feel like dabbing on my neck. This is great for swirling, just getting it in and blending it really well. Make sure you get those edges. My face doesn't always like this brush on my face itself, especially on days when I'm more broken out, because it just agitates it. So I'm wearing a lower cut shirt, so you know, bring a little bit down there. You always want to clean these foundation brushes very often, because once you use it so often without washing and the foundation gets way inside of it, it gets really hard to get it out. And because that's gross. Don't let it get dirty. Okay. So I'm going to use some concealer to clean up my bobos. This is the Mary Kay Perfecting Concealer. It comes with one of these type of applicators. I don't like to use it on my face. You totally could, and it'd be totally easy. But when you have acne, you kind of want to keep the contaminants out. So I like to just put a little bit, and that's really all it will take. I won't even use all that. A little bit goes a long way. Let's see how it works with this terrible thing. So I'll put some on there with the brush, and then I'll tap it out. Tapping is the best way to blend it out because it doesn't wipe it back away. Alright, much better. And if you have such problem acne like that nasty thing I had right here, and I really don't want it to budge, because once your skin gets to that kind of scabbier surface. It's hard for things to stick to it quite as well, so I like to use translucent powder, and I have some here on my tray all poured out ready to go. I'm gonna use this fat eyeshadow brush, tap it onto the side, like tap like a lot of it on there, and then just tap it onto your problem spots, and it's gonna get everywhere. Woo, snowing translucent powder. Give everything a good coat. This is gonna set it really well. So every little spot that I put concealer, I'm going to cover it and coat it with translucent powder, which is going to be my whole face. I'm going to be polka dotted. This is going to help it set, and it's going to help the texture to be a little bit smoother. And we're going to leave this for a while. Like while I'm doing other things, I'm going to leave it. Like I'm going to go do my hair or something. And when I'm finished, then I'll wipe it away. It's kind of like, you know, baking. The warmth of your skin will help meld it to your face. I'm gonna also put it on the outside of my nose because this part always gets kind of, like the foundation doesn't always stick super well right there because it is an oilier spot. So if you have that trouble, or if you're constantly touching your nose, stop touching your face. Don't touch your face. But if you are, use this to help it stay. I like to even put it in my lines. Like I have more lines right here. I tap it into there. Probably isn't the best method for super deep lines. I don't know. If you have some, let me know how that works. And I'm gonna put it there too. Ooh. Definitely put it, especially if you use concealer or under eye corrector under your eyes, or if you have like really puffy or lots of lines under your eyes. This is gonna help. Even if you don't have lines, it's just hard for makeup to stay in this spot. Tap a ton of it under your eyes. This is gonna help it to stay put. So I'm gonna leave this for a little while. Then I'm gonna get rid of it. Bye. Okay. Alright, I didn't have quite as much time to let this set as much as I would like to let it do its job. I did my hair. That's about all I had time to do. So I'll do my lipstick. Give me like an extra 30 seconds to let that set. Lipstick, where are you? I'm going to use Mary Kay's pretty brand new, came out over the summer, gel semi-matte lipstick. Goes on pretty smoothly. It's easy to apply. I love this color. If you mess up, you go around with I have a little bit of concealer left on here. I don't want to actually apply concealer. I just want to clean it. Alright. Now pretend like I let that translucent powder set for a long time. I didn't. Translucent powder is a very finely milled product. Very fine, less than a mineral foundation. And it has no color, even though it looks like it has color because I piled it on. But it's almost a clear product. It's translucent. So my face, I don't want to disturb my concealer, so I'm going to wipe it away, but I'm more or less going to tap it away. See? Just make sure that all that mess is gone. If I put a very light layer on my whole face, don't forget to wipe it away from your eyes, because I did forget. Forget to wipe it away from your eyes. If you use this to set your foundation, you just put a super light layer on a fluffy brush and you put it in your whole face, and that's going to set your makeup. But I also find that it helps to create a smoother surface for applying other powders like blush and things to your face. Because if you put it straight onto a kind of damp foundation, it's just going to kind of stick and not spread out really well. Don't forget your neck. You always want to make sure whatever you do to your face, you pretty much do your neck so that it looks a little bit more natural. Let's get this out the way. Alright, and I'm using this airbrush powder brush by It Cosmetics. I like it. It's fluffy and it's pretty. Alright, the moment you've been waiting for, contouring. I'm going to demonstrate using these pressed powders. These are Mary Kay's sheer, what do you call them? Sheer pressed powders. They're foundation. It's like a light foundation. You could do this with anything. You can do this with a bronzer and a highlighting powder. You could do this with mineral powders. I kind of like the shades of our mineral powders a little bit better, but I like using the pressed powders because they're nice and neat and already in here. I'd wish this were like a little bit more ashy, I guess I would say, but it'll do. Another technique, which is more of like the intermediate, I guess, way to contour, would be with our concealers. I think I want to do a tutorial on this sometime. You could also do a little bit more of an intermediate contouring with foundations. You would use the same technique, it's just the way you apply it will be different. This is the easiest way. The powders are the easiest way. It's natural and it's fast, and I'm not gonna be like going super detailed as to how I do this. So I'm gonna use this angled brush. It's a contour bronze brush by Ulta. I just like it because it's kind of skinny and it's angled, so it's gonna fit right into my cheekbones really easy. If you wanted to do this even easier, use a big fluffy brush. Anything that's a little bit darker than your skin tone, but not super much, like not a whole lot darker, and you basically draw the number 3 on your face and you're done. As long as you're not using a super dark color, you can do it really quick and don't have to be so precise about where you're putting it. So keep that in mind and you'll kind of get it a little bit better once I go into the more detailed way. I'm going to take this and I'm going to tap it into the darker color. I don't want a ton of it. Basically this is like 2 or 3 shades darker than what my true shade of this pressed powder would be. And I'm just going to tap it into the hollows of my cheek. So if I were to make a fishy face, following that fishy face line, that's where this will go. And you also want to do the perimeter of your face, more or less. Make sure you get into your hairline because you don't want it to like be dark and then light at your scalp, because that's weird. You don't want people to know that you did this. You just want it to look natural. The purpose is because when you put foundation on, your whole face is a solid white color. Especially if you're pasty like me, you're gonna want it to look a little bit more natural because your face is not naturally one solid color. Then I'm gonna follow under my jawline. You don't wanna go over it because again, you don't want people to know you did this. This is gonna help chisel your face. Like if you're a little chubbier right here, this is a great way to chisel it down. You want to get under your neck too. So I followed the perimeter of my face and I did this little chiseled area to chisel my cheeks a little better. So the letter 3, essentially. Do you get it? The letter 3. The number 3. 3! Okay. And you don't want your neck to look completely different. So I like to draw this like line from my ear to, what is this? This thing. I took anatomy, I promise. So, and kind of fill in this area so it doesn't look like a line. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the whole thing. I just did on the other side, under your chin. Everyone's face is different, so kind of the area that you put this might be different on all of you guys. But this is where it works for me. This is the hollows of my cheek. This is underneath my cheekbones. I don't really have super prominent cheekbones, but I don't have prominent cheeks, but they go like right here. So what I always tell people is your highlight, think of your cheeks in 3 sections. When you smile, if you sit your finger on top, that's where you'll highlight. If you make a fishy face, that's where you contour. And the area in between is where you blush, more or less. I also like to put it on my nose. It kind of brings it all in to a little more to the center of my face so it doesn't look like it just circled my face. Tap it on each side. You see? Very subtle, but it did something. If you have like a longer spot here, you can put it here. This is going to slim down your nose too, but also kind of add some color to your face. So that's about it. I could stop right there, but I won't. Oh, you can put it, like if I'm wearing a lower shirt, so it's going to look, I want everything to kind of mesh. So you can put you could put it like under your collarbones here to make them a little more prominent and just to add some dimension Anywhere there is a shadow, that's where this will go. I like using this sheer foundation instead of a bronzer. Mary Kay does carry a bronzer. It's this powder right here. I like it. It's a good color. Slightly darker for me because I'm white. And it has a little bit of a shimmer. I don't always really want too much of a shimmer. Let's just go ahead and do blush now. I'm gonna use Cherry Blossom. This is Cherry Blossom. Not very pink, not barely any shimmer at all. Okay, so some people don't like to put blush when they have acne because they say it accentuates it, and it kind of does. But if you use the lightest hand and you've put powder already covering the acne, it's not going to disturb it too much. Also, this tapping motion helps. I'm going to tap it on, just so we don't disturb it. See, acne, it came back. We'll cover it in a minute though. But this tapping motion seems to be your best bet. There we go. Cheeks, like I said, between the contour and the highlight, and you don't want to get close to your nose. That all depends on the shape of your face. The shape of my face does not lend itself to having it way over here. Now let's go in with the lightest color. It's a highlight, but sort of not really. I'm going to use this airbrush foundation brush. It's a smaller foundation brush. And I'm going to get into my lightest color here. Lightest color. Tap it in. Down the nose. Very gently. Don't disturb the bronzer that you put. Gonna put it like in a rainbow shape here, sorta. Is that right? Like a rainbow, and then fill it in. I don't know. Under here, this is where we want it to be light. Clean up this area because I don't like it. Clean up this area. Under her chin. Down here to clean up, sharpen that bronzing nonsense a little bit better. You can't see this one a whole lot. If you were darker, you might, but I'm super white. Okay. And you don't want to have like a dark spot and a light spot, so if you needed to blend this together a little bit better, this is my true shade. Whatever it is, this is my actual face color. So I'm gonna like blend in the light and the dark here a little bit better. Not a whole lot of product, just enough to mesh it. Any place where you didn't already put something, basically this is just gonna blend it together. I'm gonna fix my concealer a little bit. It's bothering me. Fix my bobo. Now we're gonna go in with the actual highlighter, like a shimmery highlighter. I love this one. This one comes with our ripe watermelon blush, which looks crazy, but it's not as crazy as it appears to be. I usually use this airbrush concealer. Concealer, really? It's so big. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm gonna go in with this highlighter color here. It's kind of like a pinky iridescent-y color. I love it. And I'm just gonna go here with it. This is gonna be hard to see in camera. Can you see that at all? Maybe? I don't know. Can you? I'll put more so you can. We're just sitting it on top of our cheeks. Not going close to our nose, because if you do, you'll look oily. You can put some, like, tap it on top of your nose. On a cupid's bow. On top of your brows, and this forehead area is great. Yeah. Under your brows, you can tap it there. That's good. But basically that's it. It's pretty easy. It's pretty natural. You can't see it a whole lot, but like it helps my face not to look quite as pasty and pale as it really is. So now the last thing you want to do, you can either set it with another light layer of translucent powder or take this Mary Kay finishing spray, do a little shake, and then just spray the heck out of yourself. This is gonna kind of meld it all together. Woo! Meld it all together and help it to stay. Also wanted to do my brows because they get real powdery. Everything gets kind of powdery once you're putting so much powder in your face. So just kind of brush up and away with this. And if you need to clean up your lashes, do that. Ooh, I didn't put anything on the bottom, my bottom lashes. So I'm doing my bottom lashes with a mascara that's pretty much empty. On it. Oh my god, it's way emptier than I expected. You need to clean up the top. If they got powdery, go ahead and do that. Anyway, so that's the look. We're a little bit more polished. Is that pretty? That's nice, right? Good enough. If you need something explained better, let me know. I'm going to be doing another contouring video that goes a little bit more into detail. It's going to be using some different products. It's going to be a little more complicated, but this was easy and subtle. Sorry if you can't see it at all. But just think of a pasty pale person and then someone that's not, and that's what I got now. I was like before and after. So thanks for watching, guys. Bye!